tonight's lesson will conclude the study of the book of Job. We begin with chapter 40, The Lord is Still Speaking. Chapter 40, verse 1, Moreover, the Lord answered Job and said, Shall he that contendeth with the Almighty instruct him? He that reproveth God, let him answer him. Can you instruct God? And remember in chapter 14, 23, 24, Job said God is in charge of all. So this seems to be to those friends who are listening who wished to tell God something. Verse 3. Then Job answered the Lord and said, Behold, I am vile. What shall I answer thee? I will lay mine hand upon my mouth. He is saying, I am vile and I will be quiet. Verse 5. Once have I spoken, but I will not answer. Yea, twice, but I will proceed no further. He's saying, no more talk. Is he on a guilt trip? Verse 6. Then answered the Lord unto Job out of the whirlwind and said, and we've explained that this is not a storm. These are those vehicles of God that are described in Ezekiel. Highly polished bronze vehicles. 7. Gird up thy loins now like a man. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. He's saying, stand up, Job, and answer. 8. Wilt thou also disannul my judgment? Wilt thou condemn me, that thou mayest be righteous? He's saying, can you change my plan? Can you set up some kind of new agreements? He is going to ask that of Job and us, that we do God's work and act right. And we are up against Satan and any of his spokesmen, and there are plenty. Hast thou an arm like God, or canst thou thunder with a voice like him? He said, oh, you have power and you have the voice of God? 10. Deck thyself now with majesty and excellency, and array thyself with glory and beauty. He's saying, let's see it. And this is reminds us of the righteous indignation that Jesus showed when he chased the money changers out of the temple. Look on every one that is proud, and bring him low, and tread down the wicked in their place. He's saying proud, and we're told in Ezekiel 28 that pride is Satan's sin. Tread these down. Now, pride, it's different from being taking pride in our work or pride in our home. The kind of pride that Satan displayed, he wished to be the Messiah. 13. Hide them in the dust together, and bind their faces in secret. So he's saying the bind there loses a bit in translation. It is being in the deepest dungeon, the pit, and that is where Satan is going, and we are told in Genesis that he was to crawl in the dust when he is personified as a serpent. But we're to be a war horse, as we learned in the chapter ahead. And we must make a difference. But how? 14. Then will I also confess unto thee that thine own right hand can save thee. The right hand can save. Well, who is on the right hand? It is Jesus who sits at the right hand of God. Only he can save us. We cannot save ourselves. Now he is going to discuss an animal. And this animal existed in the first Earth Age, is now extinct, but there are skeletal remains pieced together in the Smithsonian, and we can see in Colorado that these dinosaurs did actually exist. Behold now, behemoth, which I made with thee. He eateth grass as an ox. This is in the first Earth Age. When he made the behemoth, he's saying he also made Job and all of us. This is a dinosaur. Lo now, his strength is in his loins, and his force is in the navel of his belly. He has muscles that ripple his loins, his very large, powerful legs. 17, he moveth his tail like a cedar. The sinews of his stones are wrapped together. Stones are his thighs, very, very large muscles. Now, a cedar of Lebanon is a very tall tree. So this is an animal with a very large tail. Now, you will find commentaries who will suggest that this is an elephant. An elephant has a very short tail. Others who will say it's a hippo. Not so, and we will see that as we move through. Now, this is a grass eater. It's not a Tyrannosaurus rex. Think of the green dino on the old Sinclair signs. That is the behemoth. 18. His bones are strong pieces of brass. His bones are like bars of iron. He is very big, large bones, and of course we can dig, archaeologists dig and find these bones today. 19. He is the chief of the ways of God. He that made him can make his sword to approach unto him. Chief, he's the biggest flesh, and he has very huge, huge teeth, grinders to chew on herbaceous material. 20. Surely the mountains bring him forth food. Yes, the mountains do. Now, if it's a hippo, do we find hippos in the mountains? No, hippos are not in the mountains. This is an animal that no longer exists. It was in the first Earth Age. Verse 21. He lieth under the shady trees, in the covert of the reed and the fens. 22. The shady trees cover him with their shadow. The willows of the brook compass him about. And of course, they have been remains found in the Arctic North. And this is God's plan. In this first Earth age, there were no flesh men. Satan's rebellion caused an end to this age. And when we read Genesis, we read, the earth was void. When that sentence is taken to the Hebrew, it is discovered by scholars that that word was should be translated became. The earth became void because the first earth age was ended. God started over, and in this second earth age, we are a tilt. We are not aligned magnetic north and true north. We have storms, we have tidal waves, and many things that are caused by this. Persons, pilots, and planners of space trips realize this discrepancy, this tilt, and make a calculation for it. 23. Behold, he drinketh up a river, and hasteth not. He trusteth that he can draw up Jordan in his mouth. He is huge. He can drink up a great deal. 24. He taketh it with his eyes, his nose pierceth through snares. Can't trap a dinosaur. He is like no other creature. He can break traps. So can we. Why is God telling us about this behemoth? Well, we can break a trap too. We can break a trap of Satan's. And 2 Thessalonians tells us that we are safe. We can hold back Satan. Some churches do not teach that we can come against Satan in every way and in all times of earth history. That is the end of chapter 40. In chapter 41, we are going to move into the current earth age, and we are going to discuss another animal. And this animal is a personification of Satan. 41:1. Canst thou draw out Leviathan with a hook, or his tongue with a cord which thou lettest down? No, you cannot. His tongue is fastened to his under jaw, and you can't catch a crocodile on a hook, and that is the meaning of Leviathan. It is a crocodile. 2. Yes, can thou put a hook into its jaw or bore his jaw through with a thorn? Can you catch a crocodile with a hook? No, and you cannot. And you can't, if you catch a fish, you can put a string through its gill and put it down in the water to stay fresh. You can't hook a crocodile, and you certainly can't put it on a line. 3. Will he make many supplications unto thee? Will he speak soft words unto thee? Oh, will he talk nice and make good deals and bargains? He doesn't need to. 4. Will he make a covenant with thee? Wilt thou take him for a servant forever? Can he make a covenant? Can you make a servant out of a crocodile? Can you make a servant out of Satan? No. 5. Wilt thou play with him as with a bird, or wilt thou bind him for thy maidens? Oh, yes, you could put a crocodile in a cage and maybe teach it to roar on command, or bind it up with a leash to entertain the maidens. Nope. Can't do that with a dinosaur, and you can't do it with a crocodile. This is a parable to answer Job 6. Shall the companions make a banquet of him? Shall they part him among the merchants? That word merchants in the Hebrew is Canaanites. Those are descendants of Canaan, and they were the inhabitants of Israel when Moses led them into that promised land. 7. Canst thou feel his skin with barbed irons, or his head with fish spears? No, you can't get to a crocodile because he has thick scales that are very thickly laid from head to toe. You can't spear him, nor can you spear Satan. You can only order him out in the name of Jesus. Do we feel sorry for him? No. He gets what he deserves. He has already been sentenced. Verse 8. Lay thine hand upon him, remember the battle, do no more. Oh, you would lay your hand on a crocodile? Then you might end up like Captain Hook in little book called Peter Pan, with a hook instead of a hand. Oh, would we lay our hand on Satan? You can't fight with Satan. You can't argue with Satan. You can only order him away. Verse 9. Behold, the hope of him is in vain. Shall not one be cast down even at the sight of him? Try to take him? Why, your thoughts would be in vain. He can drag us down. The alligator can. It's one snap and you're pulled underwater to drown, just as Satan can drag us down spiritually. 10. None is so fierce that dare stir him up. Who then is able to stand before me? He says, I am the maker. I created the crocodile. I created Satan. And of course, you can't, as the same goes for a crocodile, you have little to use against him except the gospel armor that is described in the book of Ephesians, and the faith and the knowledge and the Word of God, and that helps us to stand in whatever time of our lives or whatever time on earth we happen to live. Verse 11. Who hath prevented me that I should repay him? Whatsoever is under the whole heaven is mine. God's saying, who can anticipate me? Yes, you can't. God is over everything. And Satan is spiritually free to move in. We might say, well, Great Aunt Edith is causing a great deal of trouble. Well, it is not she. It is Satan working through her. And we need to know that Satan loves to tear up Verse 12. I will not conceal his parts, nor his power, nor his comely proportion. So God is not going to conceal the power of the crocodile or the power of Satan. He won't hide him from us. And truth helps us to, when we know the truth, to recognize our enemy. And Luke 10, verses 18 and 19 tell us that God gives us power over enemies. Verse 13. Who can discover the face of his garment? I want to back up and talk about comely proportion. Comely, meaning good looking. Well, yes, a crocodile is huge. But remember the description of Satan? We are told that he was made after the full pattern. He is a very good-looking and charming rascal. Verse 14. Who can open the doors of his face? His teeth are terrible round about. The crocodile, yes, he has a terrible, fearsome face, and his teeth, he has a double layer of teeth, 2 rows, and he's got a hard hide. You can't get to him. You can roll a croc over. How? It would be hard to do. And just exactly this parable is telling us we deal with Satan as we would a crocodile. Verse 15. His scales are his pride, shut up together with a close seal. His scales are tight, very tight, and he's prideful. Remember Satan's sin? Pride. 16. One is so near to another that no air can come between him. His scales are so tight that even air can't get through. Well, we can't get through to Satan either. There is no point to argue with Satan. We are told in 2 Peter chapter 2 that even the angels know better than to argue with Satan. Verse 17, they are joined one to another, they stick together, they cannot be sundered. They better stick together, you can't push them apart. Those scales on the croc. Verse 18, by sneezing a light doth shine, and his eyes are like the eyelids of the morning. Oh, Satan's name? Son of the morning. He is called the bright and morning star. 19. Out of his mouth go burning lamps, and sparks of fire leap out. Now we are abandoning the parable using the crocodile as a portrayal of Satan. Crocodile can't burn or bring forth any fire, but we're told in Revelation 13 that Satan can snap his fingers and bring down lightning. And he will do this when he arrives as the Antichrist. And it will be amazing to many. But if he's the real Christ, can he raise someone from the dead? Can he give a healing? No, he can't. He does not have that power. 20. Out of his nostrils goeth smoke as out of a seething pot or cauldron. A crocodile does not blow smoke, but smoke and is associated with Satan. 21. His breath kindleth coals, and a flame goeth out of his mouth. When we see cartoons and prehistoric so-called movies about prehistoric times, and we see a dragon, what is the dragon able to do? Blow flames. What is one of the names of Satan? The great dragon. So we have left off the crocodile analogy, and God is talking about Satan. Verse 22. In his neck remaineth strength, and sorrow is turned into joy before him. Crocodiles don't understand sorrow and joy, but Satan does. He has no heart. He would be very glad if you are sorrowful. It makes him happy. Verse 23. The flakes of his flesh are joined together. They are firm in themselves. They cannot be moved. Acts 3 times, you can't pierce his hide. We've been told this over and over and over and over. You cannot correct with words. You can only order Satan out. Verse 24, his heart is as firm as a stone, yea, as hard as a piece of the nether millstone. Is he talking about he has no heart? Well, the crocodile does have a heart, but his heart is wicked, and he is mean. His heart is like a stone. 25. When he raiseth up himself, the mighty are afraid. By reason of breakings, they purify themselves. He can scare the mighty. We can get confused and lose our way. So we don't want to get in a patch of crocodiles or Satan and his followers. It's very easy when we have troubles to blame someone. We can blame ourselves. We do have choices. But we, through the scriptures, can arm ourselves. God will teach us truths, and we are to stick to the facts, not to appearances, as Job's friends did, and not to hearsay. Verse 26. The sword of him that layeth at him cannot hold, the spear, the dart, nor the habergeon. Only the gospel armor will work. No other kind of weaponry. 27. He esteemeth iron as straw, and brass as rotten wood. He, remember, is the prince of the world. 28. The arrow cannot make him flee. Sling stones are turned with him into stubble. Arrow won't chase him away. You can't dent the croc. Throw a rock at a crocodile, you won't dent him, and you certainly won't dent Satan. 29. 30. Darts are counted, sharp stones are under him. He spreadeth sharp pointed things upon the mire. Sharp rocks just mashes down. Remember, Satan crawls in the dust. He was given that curse in Genesis. He is low. he would like to take us into the mire with him. 31. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. Deep boils, yes. Sea, an ointment boils. He maketh the deep to boil like a pot. He maketh the sea like a pot of distress. Yes, he can make. Remember, Job is covered in boils. He can take someone down in a roiling, boiling like sea. Verse 32. He maketh a path to shine after him. One would think the deep to be hoary. One would think that the deep is cold. 33. Upon earth there is not his like, who is made without fear. Who? Only one wearing the gospel armor. 34. To conclude this chapter, he beholdeth all high things. He is the king over all the children of his pride. Satan. He is talking about Satan, who was sentenced in Ezekiel 28, verses 18 and 19, for pride. His pride, he wanted to be the Messiah. He tried hard throughout the Bible, beginning in the garden, and he will be turned to ashes from within. Chapter 42 concludes this book, and Job is going to answer. There are some who say that God never answered Job. Who is this crocodile? It is Satan. Job has been answered. Then Job answered the Lord and said, I know that thou canst do everything, and that no thought can be withholden from thee. He says, I know you're all-knowing God. I know you can even read my mind. 3. Who is he that hideth counsel without knowledge? Therefore have I uttered that I understood not, things too wonderful for me, which I knew not. He said, I didn't know, I didn't understand. And the answer's back in verse 2 of chapter 38. Who speaks out of darkness and without knowledge? Job says, I understand now. 4. Hear, I beseech thee, and I will speak. I will demand of thee, and declare thou unto me. Job answers. Number 38, number 3, when he was told to gird up his loins, he is answering. He understands. Girding up his loins, he has a fight. 5. I have heard of thee by the hearing of the ear, and now mine eye seeth thee. He is saying, I've studied, my eye sees, and I can answer these questions. 6. Wherefore I abhor myself and repent in dust and ashes. Once again, he's saying, I repent from not having seen earlier. He didn't recognize Satan. In the beginning, in that first chapter, in verse 6, Satan is asked to try Job. And God allows him. He, too, has been created. And God said, where have you been? He says, I'm walking up and down the earth to see who I might destroy. Verse 7. And it was so that after the Lord had spoken these words unto Job, the Lord said unto Eliphaz the Temanite, My wrath is kindled against thee and against thy 2 friends, for ye have not spoken of me the thing that is right, as my servant Job has. Now he's spoken to the 3 friends. You have not spoken. You've jumped to conclusions without facts. Verse 8, therefore, take unto you now 7 bullocks and 7 rams, and go to my servant Job, and offer up for yourselves a burnt offering, and my servant Job shall pray for you. For him will I accept, lest I deal with you after your folly, in that you have not spoken of me the thing which is right, like my servant Job. So they have been told to go offer burnt offerings. Those are sin offerings, 7 of each, and they have blamed God, is what they have done. 9. So Eliphaz the Temanite, and Bildad the Shuhite, and Zophar the Naamathite went and did according as the Lord commanded them. The Lord also accepted Job. So we learn that Job has been accepted, and that these are ordered to make a burnt offering. Where is Elihu? He isn't mentioned here. He is a representative of Satan. He told the truth, he twisted, and he did not like the three. He did not tell the truth, but he went on, and he is not included in the offer to make the burnt offering, and that burnt offering would have been for forgiveness. Verse 10, and the Lord turned the captivity of Job when he prayed for his friends. Also the Lord gave Job twice as much as he had before. Now this is intercessory prayer. When did Job's trouble turn? When he prayed for his friends, and he is going to get twice as much as what he had. And the 11, then came there unto him all his brethren, all his sisters, and all they that did eat bread with him in his house, and they bemoaned him and comforted him over all the evil that the Lord had brought upon him. Every man also gave him a piece of money, and every one an earring of gold. Oh, well, where were these persons before? They have turned up now to get in with Job because they might need him once again. Verse 12, so the Lord blessed the latter end of Job more than the beginning, for he had 14,000 sheep and 6,000 camels and 1,000 yoke of oxen and 1,000 she-asses, double. He had also 7 sons and 3 daughters. Okay, he had 10 to start with. This wasn't doubled. Yes, it is. The 10 who had died have gone to be with God. Their souls are with the God. So he has those 10, and then he has this other 10 added to him. Verse 14, and he called the name of the first Jemimah, means bountiful, or a dove, and the name of the second Keziah, and that means fragrant as a cinnamon, and the third was called Karen Hapeth, and that is horn of beauty. And he named the girls, but he didn't name the boys. He's been given 3 daughters and 7 sons. Remember that in the 7 and 3 make 10. In the end times, there are 7 nations, and there are 10 horns. Those horns are to fight against Satan. This simply means that females have a part. They are singled out here. 15. And in all the land were no women found so fair as the daughters of Job, and their father gave them inheritance among their brethren. Now, that was unheard of in the time of Job. Sons inherited, girls got a dowry, but that was all. So the veil is rather pulled aside here, and we are getting a message from this book of Job about women. 16. After this lived Job 140 years, and saw his sons and his sons' sons, even 4 generations. 17. To conclude this chapter and this book, so Job died, being old and full of days. The message from Job: look at it yourself. Realize that trouble comes from Satan. Be introspective. Don't listen to men. You have a weapon, the gospel armor, to stand you in good stead, and you can order Satan away. This video concludes this book of Job and the lessons that it contains for all of us.